screens and do the work. Yeah,
Fine.
I think it's nicer, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So welcome everyone.
Yes.
Yeah, it's time for the master class at the Teachers Academy. We are so delighted to welcome you to the one of 51 Happy Teachers sessions for the year 2025. So 2025 is a year which we thought we would celebrate very, very well. And celebration must happen now. There are reasons behind that. We complete 5 years of the Learning Forward Foundation, and perhaps we found our purpose. The purpose is joy of giving. And why? For happy teachers. So if I look at it very simply, this year a lot of work will go into teacher learning. And we have some very interesting things lined up. For example, currently we are doing this book of Shomie. As the book gains momentum, we will also bring in productive failure. We will get the authors of both the books to join us, and we will really get down to understand how we go to make a happy teacher. So from Shomie's book to productive failure is very deep. It's really the technology of learning. First time I've come across a book from a doctor, a professor, a scientist, one who set up the ETH Center in Singapore. ETH is a Swiss university. So Dr. Manu Kapoor is a mathematician by academics, but he ended up doing a book on the science of failure. We will meet him, we'll bring him to the Teachers Academy, and I'm sure you'll enjoy. I only have one request to everyone. The webinars are for everyone to enjoy, so you can enroll any number of people to help your colleagues and teachers to sign up. I know we reached out to many, and I'm sure that as people get used to this new format, as we have moved from Zoom meetings to webinars, they will join us in due course. So today our reading is 10 on 10. We are so obsessed with 10, whether it's marks or it's everything is considered 10. And when you even do your countdown, it's always 1 to 10. There's a song, this is number one, it has just begun. And on 9, you're at the heaven's gate, and then comes 10, because that's the ultimate story of life. Then you have the 10 commandments. I'm sure you're aware of 10 commandments. So, in the same spirit, Shomie, the man who saw tomorrow, he had his 10 on 10. And his 10 on 10 goes to the making of how a school must run. We hear various acronyms, 4 C's, 6 C's. Gurdeep rightly said that, yes, we are talking of 10 C's today, but we have our 6 C's. Now, Shomie wrote these 10 C's a generation behind. And as we moved along, we thought that maybe the 10 C's could become 6 C's. And we started talking of critical thinking, creativity, collaboration, communication, character, and citizenship. But today, as they've gone a step ahead. They said that if you have critical thinking, creativity, collaboration, and communication, you don't need the rest, because that automatically is a subset and a product of the rest. So they're even talking of 4 C's. Well, jargons aside, I think let's read this chapter and discover what these 10 commandments are. And then we will connect every commandment to your life. We will talk about how you can take it to your classroom. Just before we go, I just want to check, is your chat working? If someone can say hi, and if you're okay on sound, say something so that you respond. And I know you're happy. If you want to put a emoticon in the chat, please do. We really appreciate you, and we want this year to be the most memorable year for all our teachers at the Learning Forward India Teachers Academy. Why we say Learning Forward? Essentially, we are the Learning Forward India Foundation. And Learning Forward India Foundation has an affiliation with Learning Forward. So what I suggest that you make these webinars part of your continuous professional development for the year, CPD. We will do 51 webinars. You can attend as many as you can. And after you attend the webinars or as you go along, we expect you to submit 5 posts. Yeah, Sandeep, you put up a hand. You want to say something? Okay. The hand means good. So I guess it means it works. Thank you so much. So we will go along. We will do the conversations with you. We will read with you. And then we expect you to come up with posts. Now, posts can be a blog, posts can be a podcast, post can be a video, post can be an artwork. My dear Gurdeep keeps talking about visual thinker and visual learning, and I'm sure you see her visual style. So we will appreciate this blog after a little while, and we hope you will contribute to it. Our whole goal is to make the best online learning platform in the world called the Teachers Academy, where it's the teachers who are the stakeholders. They run it, they create the content, they work together, and they are committed to happy teachers. Finally, if you want a certificate for your CPD, please go to diljito.com and sign up. The webinars are absolutely free, but the certification process costs us. So there's a very nominal fee of 2,500 for the whole year for the course for a certification and assessment. Why we have that fee? Because we have to work with an international organization where we have certain obligations. We really don't save anything out of it from our part. This is the joy of giving. We've heard of langar, we've heard of seva. I think the biggest seva is if we can serve the teachers and read with them. So this is our seva. Over to you. If we are to summarize the principles or commandments by which Shomie has lived his years as a visionary educator, and we have learned to live by, this will take the form of what Shomie calls the 10 C's. Even today, the 10 C's hang on a wall in his study for ready reference. These principles or commandments are basically 10 key traits or aspects that Shomie believes need to be nurtured for both personal and collective well-being. We keep saying personal and social development. So that's why this is very much close to what we say, personal and collective well-being, irrespective of whether one is a student, teacher, or parent, or simply someone interested in the question of human beings achieving their full potential. And this is where we come in. When we are there at the Learning Forward Foundation, we often talk about why we set up good school, why the good school, what is the focus of good school, and why the alliance. So I think at this point, when Shomie talks of personal and social development, it takes me to our map of personal and social development. What the schools have to really look at as a holistic learning program. These are the 10 areas of learning which or learning outcomes which a school has to work. So on one hand, Shomie's 10 commandments are there. And on the other hand, we have our 10 areas where the commandments take you. So if you look at an individual, you look at these 4 children in the middle, 4 teachers in the middle, 4 stakeholders in the middle at My Good School, they work together to create an ecosystem. The ecosystem ensures that your identity develops, your spiritual aesthetic awareness develops, you can make decisions, your health becomes better, your intellectual growth, your communication, your relationships, your equal opportunities, your employment opportunities, citizenship, environmental awareness. And now we see what Shomie does with his 10 commandments. So here they are in order. 1, curiosity. The faculty of being curious is at the root of all knowledge. I'm sure you'll agree that the curiosity shop is the best thing that can happen. Curiosity is the first C. Second, creativity. It is creativity that underscores our unique individualities. Third, critical thinking. The ability to analyze, evaluate, and solve problems is critical to human growth. 4. Choice. Learning how to make the correct choice among the plethora on offer is often indicative of person's success. Uh, Gurdeep, as you have access as a panelist, would you have access to people with chat and conversation?
Yes, yes, I can see that.
So if you have a hand raised, you could please send a message to the person in the chat and connect with that
Sure.
person. In case there is some challenge, we'll be happy to help.
Fine, I'll do that.
Yeah, thanks so much. God bless you. Then we come to communication. Communication lies at the heart of our interactions as a social entity. Candidness and courage, honesty and sincerity, and thus courage form the bedrock of communication. Collaboration. Along with communication, collaboration lies at the heart of successful human enterprise. Competition. Need to better oneself every single day stems from the natural sense of healthy competition. I need to pause here simply because when you say competition, you sometimes look at a race where you're running to the ribbon and trying to outdo the other person. No, it's not that. It's competition with your own self. And later in the year, when we read the book Productive Failure, it's very interesting when you read this book. It tells you, okay, here's a story. You're playing a football match. You're absolutely fagged out. You can't do anything more, but you have to move on and score the goal. You push yourself over the edge to the extent that maybe when you kick the ball and hit the goal, you just collapse out of no energy. So you have really pushed yourself to the edge. You're doing a 100-meter dash and you know your lungs are almost falling apart, but you still push yourself and better your time by that half a second. That's the competition we are talking about. Citizenship. As citizens of our communities, nations, and the global collective, living the responsibilities and the rights of good citizenship is a must. That's all schooling is about, making better citizens, citizens with character, citizens with compassion. Compassion, and above all, is compassion. The ability to truly see the other and a faculty that empowers appropriate choices. Gurdeep, you're a class teacher. I'm so happy to have you here, and I'm also very delighted to have Kunal with us. Can you try and highlight how the compassion magic happens in your day-to-day life as a teacher?
Okay. Shall I?
Yeah, please do.
Can I share one example?
Yeah,
Like,
sure. Whatever. I mean, you can talk whatever you want.
okay. So it was 7, 8 years ago. Actually, I teach 11th and 12th class, but we can take, like, we are given substitution of any class. So it was 7, 8 years ago. I was given a substitution in primary class, fourth class, fourth or third. I don't remember actually, third or fourth class. And they were doing colors and all. So I asked like students, okay, they were doing colors and all. So I asked, what is the color of sky? And 30 students were there, 29 students said it's blue. I said, okay. One student, I still remember the face of that child. He said very confidently, he said, no, ma'am, the color of sky is not blue, it's gray. I said, okay. And everyone was looking at that child, why he said gray but not blue. I asked that child, okay, why gray, not blue? He said, ma'am, look outside, it's gray. Like we are in Noida and it's very polluted and dusty here. So it's gray, it's not blue. So the child was showing me the evidence, okay, it's gray, not blue. So that was not the question of color. I think this particular moment, then I explained him, okay, I showed him one picture where the sky was blue, and then He showed me, ma'am, it's gray. Then I told him the whole story. Okay, why it's gray? Because of the pollution and everything. Like I explained everything. So this particular moment, I think it's covering all the 10 C's if we see. We communicated with each other. It was his curiosity. Like he asked this question. And obviously, compassion is involved. We didn't reject his answer. Okay, no, you are wrong. You are not correct. We didn't reject his answer, but we explained him. Critical thinking was there, communication was there, citizenship was there because we were making them understand, okay, this is the environment that we are polluting. Simple question, what is the color of sky, lead us to the learning part, ultimately involving, I think, all the 10 C's. So when you were reading all the 10 C's, so that particular incident was coming to my mind.
How beautiful. And this is what the classroom is. It's the most humble space in the world. And the beautiful thing about a classroom, when you look at these 10 C's, the bottom line, the best C is the child.
Yes.
So if it starts with the child, it's child centers, like the last reflection of the last session. It has to be child centers. So when you talk of compassion, I think compassion is the thread which bonds the child in us. So don't look at yourself as a teacher or as an adult, as the world would say. There is a child within each one of us, and that child is pure. That child is sublime. That child is honest. That's the child which you have to keep alive always. And that's the art of teaching. It was with our individual and collective commitment to the den tendencies that Oak Ridge as an institution could continue to grow and serve. So that's how Oak Ridge thrived. This has been our story, a narrative of trust, collaboration, and mutual respect. In the next section, I'll take you through the stories behind this story. So there is a story inside a story. We will open the section next time. Today, we wanted to familiarize you with the structure of what we are doing. And there was a very interesting article this week. I'm sorry if you see too much of me, but the matter of fact is that in webinar mode, one ends up like that. My apologies for that. So when you write to us or when you reflect, let us say we did an article last time or we read chapter 8. Chapter 8 was on the trust quotient. So what we did after we read the chapter, we went to the Teachers Academy, and at the Teachers Academy, we went down and created a reflection piece. I'm intentionally showing you this because I think it's important for you to all use the tools of the Teachers Academy most effectively. So we met on the 4th of January and we did the trust quotient. Like today, we have done 10 on 10. Now, we worked very hard in putting together the reflections of the session. But I urge you, please reflect. The joy of reading only becomes a relationship when you reflect. So we put together, three of us, with a lot of effort, one little reflection post. And if I look at the popular post column, it was not even read. So now when you look at compassion, your compassion for us or our compassion for you has to be evident here. So this blog of Happy Teachers is done with a lot of love and care and a lot of effort. And the interesting bit is I keep repeating, it's not our profession. We don't expect anything out of it. We are not here to say that, okay, we are doing it professionally as an organization, as a course of Coursera or something like that. We are just doing it because we respect every teacher. We have compassion for the child in you. So if you look at last week's trust quotient, trust is the foundation of leadership, leading by example. Trust is reciprocal, empowerment through trust. So we listed all these things out. We even went a step further. If you missed the session last time, we plugged in the masterclass recording here because we know you can't be with us every Saturday. We know it's a Saturday evening and you have work at home. We know that you are pressed for time. We definitely understand, and believe me, we have sympathy, empathy, love, respect for everything every teacher does. We will never ever let a teacher down, believe me. And that is the story of our happy teacher story for the last 12 years or so. And this is perhaps the only thing which brought us into the top 10 learning programs highlighted by World Bank some years back. So please use these resources, check out the reflections. Now, when we checked out the reflections, and we have a World Bank reason why we are actually there, very interesting thing. There is a interesting post merging forward and backward thinking. So this seems to have been read a few times. I'm glad this post is highlighted. So today I'm referring to the second post, which is on the popular post list, from classrooms to bookshelves, creating a reading journey for children. Now we are here exactly in the same journey. And why we do these sessions week after week, week after week? Here we are. Books play a vital role in a child's growth and development by creating a rich environment for learning and imagination. Surrounding children with books nurtures their curiosity. So I'm bringing your C's here. Enhances their language skills and strengthens their cognitive abilities. Sandeep Dutt takes us through how books encourage creativity, broaden worldviews, and provide valuable life lessons, fostering a love for learning that lasts a lifetime. And that's why we are here. Do school libraries still attract children? That's the next question. Yes, provided they have librarians who understand what books are and can guide children towards the right content. It is the librarian who pulls children inside a library more than the books themselves. Also, educators should inculcate the habit of reading as well. Even if they don't, educators should be found around the school campus with a book or a reading material other than the ones prescribed in the syllabi. This act will pique you the curiosity of children. And who knows, the title may get picked as well. Teachers and principals should inculcate the habit of reading in children by reading books themselves. Influence of parents. Before a child is born, the mother has to have books around the house to warm the hearth. If parents ensure that the first few things that their children visually absorb are the presence of books around them, that's when a habit of reading can be inculcated. Sadly, an average Indian home doesn't have books. The ones present are only the school bag, are in the school bag. People debate about reading a paperback, hardcover, or reading on screen. But when there is no culture at all of holding a book, be it digital or otherwise, or what use are the arguments? Reading trajectory. Between primary and middle years, some children change schools. Options vary from boarding to international schools so that a child can get into a more progressive environment to reach the prescribed milestones and ace his or her entrance exams for future courses. One interesting thing is that children who read about diverse subjects have an upper hand in acing such exams due to better comprehension and an extreme vocabulary. You watch slowly, slowly, all your C's are pouring in this one article. Why I brought this article, why I pulled it out from the blog was it connects so beautifully with what the man who saw tomorrow puts together for us. Consuming content today. There's so much access to a variety of data, and given that a lot of it is stored in the cloud, the neocortex doesn't have the extra effort in keeping a tab on everything. To make it simple, today you don't have to store knowledge. Knowledge is there in the cloud, but you have to pick up the art of learning to use the knowledge. There has been research on creating a human brain with human skills laced with technology. There's a book, Creating the Human Mind by Ray Kurzweil. One can only imagine that the futuristic scenario would be pouring a book straight into the neocortex of the brain. It's not far. Yet, with so much advent in technology and access to reading materials, we are not reading. Why? It might have to do with the evolution of the human brain and an altered attention span, adapting us to sensorial data, which makes data consumption faster than before. This also means that data absorption and thinking also become faster than before. So today, even if we are looking at 100 different elements on social media, every reel, video, or picture would have left an impact on our brains, helping us to recall some bit of it eventually. We may find it funny today that during our times, we were not used to seeing people glued to screens all day. But for today's generation, visual stimuli may be the way of absorbing information. Categorizing anything as relevant or irrelevant information today seems unfair, as what we may consider as inapt would have been a lot of thought gone behind its making. So, absorption of information may happen through several mediums, be it sound, visual, print, or digital. The amount of stimuli we are subjected to as of today has increased. Ultimately, the choice rests with us and how we exercise it. There is a little innermost part of the brain, the amygdala. I always get confused with this word. Now, your amygdala, which stimulates all the action, your amygdala is the one which then sends out signals to the other parts of the brain. So, everyone's amygdala is stimulated, could be visually, could be sense sound, whichever way. So it doesn't necessarily have to be reading is one all and be all for everyone. Are reading and learning always correlated? Now we come into a very interesting question. Do we really correlate reading and learning? We always talk of learning forward, we always talk of reading. Visual stimulus is what a child is first subjected to after birth. Now think of you as a child. Child opens the eyes brightly into the world. And that's where learning starts from. Reading comes much later. The first 4 years is when a child is most adaptive and recipient to what he or she sees around him or her. Once introduced to words, the cranial capacity will be limited to absorbing information in a preset pattern. We introduce children to what we want to see, adding our perception as well to it. Hence, when we see people not reading, it irks us. Why? What we need to understand is that learning can happen without reading as well. For instance, the tribal folk have barely read a word, but their behavioral learning is massive compared to many of us with degrees and diplomas. We spoke earlier about how a parent can influence a child's reading habit. But what if both or either parent is visually challenged or not educated at all? Books are one way of learning along with other mediums and add to the learning curve. Yet, nothing has changed in 100 years. This 100 years is a subtle reference to where I am. People should read has been the mantra that we have chanted for over a century. Yet, we fail to realize that our hyper state of mind can achieve stillness through reading. It is a form of meditation that leads from script to imagination. And when you put a script in your mind, you connect, communicate, collaborate, and create. Gurdeep, do you get the chain here?
Yeah. So all C's are coming in this answer.
Absolutely. So every C of your 10 commandments, I just a canny coincidence that this article came last week and this chapter came along this week. Often when we read at Sunday school, which is my good school, or read here, somehow like you see in social media, what you're thinking pops up in Facebook. Now, in our reading also, our subjects and our content pops up from all around like that. Every channel uncannily starts talking the C's today. So, what you give as an example, that connect, communicate, collaborate, create, and the story about the cloud outside, how you connected with the child, how the communication happened, how you collaborated and create a learning out of that. That is a very good example. Would you like to read the rest, Gurdeep?
Yeah. So excess. A dearth of books and bookstores during the pre-independence era steamed the progress of bibliophiles in the
Time.
country.
Gurdeep, the word is not steam, because if you steam, it'll become a steam engine. It's time.
Timed. Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Timed the progress of. Can you increase the font size?
Yeah, we can do that. Okay, I'll read it because
Okay.
I have an advantage. I have a large monitor hanging in front of me. I'll read it. A
Mhm.
dearth of books and bookstores during the pre-independence era stymied the progress of bibliophiles in the country. Bibliophiles are people who read, and stymied is stunting. Cut to post-independence. Books were expensive, inaccessible, and it took a few years for people to access pocket-friendly reading materials. We are talking of the story of book selling in India. Today, we have homegrown authors about a robust ecosystem of publishing and reprinting stories. In my life of 60 plus years, there hasn't been a better time for books to be produced. Book publishing has become almost democratic. Every individual can today do a book. It's as easy as that. But there exists a part of India where neither a teacher nor student has experienced a bus ride, leave alone an access to a library or a bookshop. How do we do justice to their situation? The art of reading. Now we're talking about the art of reading. The art of reading converts the art of thinking to the art of reflection. And that in turn gets made into a blog, a video log, a podcast, or a reel. Reading does two clearly good things. It slows you down to a melody or a pace. And secondly, it helps you look and use your gaze in a pinpointed manner. So, Gurdeep, I'm coming back to your saying increase the font size. Why? Because you were testing your gaze, you were competing with yourself, and that's exactly what we are saying. Reading helps you achieve a great depth of focus. You know, which is the most difficult job in the world? Being a proofreader. It's the most difficult job if you understand what I'm getting at. To ensure that every full stop is in the right place, every comma is in the right place, every word is connected correctly. And when we do books, when we produce them, I wrote a book some years back. It took me maybe 5 years to write it, but it still took us 1 year to edit it. And I worked with the whole team. That's how we came to the shape of a book. So, personal reading journey and recommendation. I have a few recommendations which I thought I'd make today. Don't read. We will just skip this introduction of myself because that is from a article's perspective. So I have three books which I thought I would strongly recommend that day. The first was Last Lecture by Randy Pausch. When Randy Pausch, a computer science professor at Carnegie Mellon, was asked to give a last lecture, he didn't have to imagine it as his last since he was recently been diagnosed with terminal pancreatic cancer. But the lecture he gave, really achieving your childhood dreams, wasn't about dying. It was about the importance of overcoming obstacles, of enabling the dreams of others, of sizing every moment because seizing, sorry, not sizing, because there's an E in the middle there. Seizing every moment because time is all you have, and you may find one day that you have less than you think. It is a summation of everything Randy had come to believe it was about living. So it's a beautiful book. It's a heartwarming book where in 6 months, as Sandy's countdown was, as Randy's countdown was, he actually wrote the book so that his children would never miss him a single day after they could not see him. And that's the story of the book. Randy's lecture has sold 8 million copies. Randy's lecture about the joy of life, his legacy to his three young children, has become a worldwide phenomenon, as has his book written on the same principles, celebrating the dreams we all try to make a reality. It is a book that will be shared for generations to come. Recently, I finished Ratan Tata, A Life of Matthew Thomas. It's about a 700-page book. It took me almost a month plus to read. And luckily, last month I traveled to Varanasi, so I carried the book along and I managed to read most of it. So I enjoyed this book for three reasons. Reason number one, yes, it's an icon of the current century. Reason number two, even more important, it's the history of India through the eyes of the Tata lens and how modern India and Tatas have actually built the country. So it's very interesting from that perspective. And third, the most important part, the humaneness, the humanity, the values, these 10 commandments, they all come alive in this book. And that's why it syncs with what we are. And of course, the last book is Man Who Saw Tomorrow. So I wanted to mention this read to you. I thought this was interesting. I wanted you to all see the Happy Teachers dot in blog, what the teachers do. I also wanted you to see that we have interesting reads which come up every week. And why, if you've written an article, your article is read by other teachers, it will be seen up here. So do encourage your teachers to write and read. This week we had very interesting post. I need at this stage to bring in, let me see if I can find him here. I thought I had seen Paul, sir. He's not here. Okay. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to show you one or two of the reflections which came last week and which are worth mentioning. So Gurdeep, should we do the reflections? We are getting elements of the Sunday school here, how we do it there. We don't just read, we do much more than that. So there's a very interesting reflection here from the Sunbeam English School, Bhagwanpur. And it's a podcast, so you have to click and play it. It's a timeless debate, the heart versus mind. At some point, each of us faces this dilemma where emotions pull us in one direction while logic guides us in another. The internal tug of war can feel overwhelming. But what if the answer lies not in choosing one over the other, but in striking a balance between the two? The heart, our emotional core, is where compassion, empathy, and passion reside. It makes us human and connects us to others in a deeply personal level. Please think of the times you have helped a friend in need, even when it is inconvenient. That is where your heart guiding you to value relationships over rational calculations. So, Gurdeep, your C's are coming here also. In everything we go, you will see an impact of the C's. On the other hand, the mind represents logic, reason, and strategy. It helps us analyze situations, weighs pros and cons, and plan for the future. For example, when preparing for exams, the mind reminds us to focus on priorities and stay disciplined. But should we always follow just one? Imagine a doctor who must decide how to treat a critically ill patient. The heart may urge them to make every possible measure to save a life while the mind evaluates the risks and outcomes. It's when the heart and mind collaborate that the best decisions are made. Decisions that are both empathetic and practical. All your 10 C's are coming in this little post. So, how do we achieve this balance? Pause and reflect. Before making a choice, take a moment to listen to both your emotions and your reasoning. Seek perspective, talk to others. They can provide clarity and help you consider both sides. Practice harmony. Start small, like balancing kindness with boundaries in friendships or blending ambition with gratitude in personal goals. In life, the heart brings meaning while the mind provides direction. Together, they create a journey filled with purpose and wisdom. Let us embrace this beautiful collaboration and strive to make decisions honoring our emotions and intellect. So that's the pause for today. So we are celebrating 2025 as a collaboration between you and us. We have moved to a webinar format simply because we are making space for 500 people to join us on Saturdays. And today, as many as 45, 50 are registered, and we have almost 40 of us, which is a very good attendance for a webinar. Now, my question to everyone here in the chat, if you found this positive, you can say yes. If you want to add some comment, if you want us to do something else, please write to us. Feel free to use your WhatsApp. I think I need to now show the WhatsApp community. Gurdeep, do you see the screen?
Yes, it's visible.
Yeah. So in the WhatsApp, you have a community called Good School Alliance. And inside Good School Alliance, you will find groups. What we have here is the Teachers Academy group. I'm using a WhatsApp web. It'll be a little different from your phone web. So for me, the main community is Good Schools Alliance, where all the announcements happen. We make two, three assignments every day because there's so much happening. On 12th, which is tomorrow, is an interesting event in Delhi. Today, we announce this webinar format, 51 sessions. We've also updated the proud member page of the Good School Alliance, which I showed you a little while back, where I had the area map and explained the purpose. We've also released a little video today. Have a look at it. So inside the Alliance, you have the Teachers Academy. Teachers Academy is where you find all this information which you and me are following and connecting with. So you may please write your comment here. You may please write your reflection here. You're most welcome. Use this as a post chat if you want to. Please go ahead. But make sure you are in the Teachers Academy and nowhere else. Gurdeep is more than happy for some of you to write your comments here and collect those comments and create a reflection post. You can send a reflection post by email to her. Now, for your reflection post, I'll just facilitate that in a few seconds. Now, similarly, when we meet tomorrow, we have the My Good School. So there is a separate conversation group for My Good School. We have a group for the Good Schools India Journal if you wish to join it. That's Rishona who was communicating with me. So Rishona is our school captain. So we have the Joy of Giving program. We have the Impact team. We have the retreat, which we have recently announced. And this you won't see. This is my governing council. This is the board which actually holds us accountable for delivery. So we are not all part of the governing council. So this is where the board asks us questions. This is our governance platform. So that's all I have to show you on WhatsApp. Now, before we go, I have to summarize today's session. We start with why we are here. We are simply here to collaborate with schools and stakeholders. And this is crucial to prioritize happy teachers and the joy of learning. We are the Good School Alliance. You know what it is about because you are there. Do visit this website. There's a very nice note by Dr. Manmohan Singh. You may want to read it. If you want to book a meeting with me, this is your privilege. So you can go here and book your meeting with me for 15 minutes or a Zoom for 30 minutes. It's all free of charge. There are no hidden charges in all this. Then we have our programs. The Sunday My Good School, which is tomorrow, and the Teachers Academy, which is today, which we are doing currently. The retreat, you all know, is going to happen in April. So please sign up for the retreat. Retreat is our Joy of Giving celebration. Last November, we hosted the retreat in Dehradun. We will host this one also in Dehradun in April. It's there from 11th April till 14th. Why don't you encourage your school to sign you up with a group of young people? The retreat and the Joy of Giving program is supported by the Doon School. So they host us, they provide us a whole lot of resources. And it just so happens the school we visit is also set up by an old boy of the Doon School in a village near Rajaji Sanctuary. So there are some glimpses of the retreat there. Enjoy this. Your Q&A of the retreat is all here. Why the retreat? How the retreat? What is the contribution? Is all available here. Then today we have updated what we call on this website the Teachers Academy page. So in Joy of Learning, you'll see all our programs. This is the Good School Alliance, Youth Engaging Society, My Good School. I only want to refer to happy teachers, but I still want you to see the list of programs. We have a fellowship for teachers. Kunal, are you here from the fellowship program?
Yes, sir.
Can you talk a little bit about the fellowship program before I go ahead?
Yeah, so fellowship is a program where teachers from different schools join us. They join us in operations. They help us. And this is a 6-month program. And if you want to continue more, you can do it. And you also can, we also give you a certificate of that.
So Kunal, as a fellow, you're almost celebrating a year. Can you share 2, 3 highlights of your fellowship?
Yeah, so there is more kind of, you can connect with more good people, and you can get more experience, and you can involve in some good things for education and for people. These
Lovely.
are
So Kunal highlighted as to why you should get involved. So if you're a teacher, you want your career to go up, Gurdeep is also a fellow, Kunal is also a fellow. So you're most welcome to join us in the fellowship programs. Likewise, there is the internship program for students. In your free time, read the newsletter, watch the YouTube channel, listen to the podcast. Now, the most important part, the Teachers Academy. So, how this program is structured now, from starting 11th of January, which is today, for the next 51 weeks, you will find webinars like this. Very peaceful, no unmute, mute, no challenges, no background noise, no sabziwala in a street from someone's mic. I'm sorry the person is not here, but I'm glad she's not here because she wouldn't have liked this because that's part of life, the humdrum we live in. So what we are really structured now is we are creating an ecosystem where you can do your 50 hours of learning with us. And you can go claim what I said. We'd love to have you sign up for the certificate program. Do your hours of continuous professional development and post 5 articles to earn. You can join this. That has got nothing to do with the webinar. This webinar is yours. You're already in it. You will get the link every week. You know how to get it because you have reached here. This is your next level. This is a subscription based program. So if you want it, please join. On this page, the reflections come here. So today is 11th of January. Our class is finished. So this is where we are. So from this masterclass, today we read chapter 10, 10 on 10, sorry, chapter 9, 10 on 10 by Shomie Das, A Man Who Saw Tomorrow by Naga, Tummala. We will get Naga to meet you in one of the sessions. So first question, look at curiosity. How do you inspire curiosity in your students? So we are actually helping you create your reflection. Second, creativity. How do you integrate creativity in your teaching methods? So we saw an example which Gurdeep gave. Critical thinking. What strategies do you help students develop critical thinking skills? Choice. Your students feel overwhelmed with multiple projects and assignments. How do you help them cope with that? Communication. Reflect on how you foster effective communication in your classroom. What role does active listening play in your interaction with students? Candor and courage. How do you encourage students to be honest? This is the biggest challenge, the building block of good citizenship. Collaboration. Collaboration, cross disciplinary projects with teachers and other subjects. See how you do that. We have examples. Share your examples with us. How do you handle competition? How do you overcome the negative feeling? What do you do in building citizenship? Teachers are nation builders because they are creating future citizens. And finally, do it with compassion and care. So, whatever you want to reflect, whatever you want to see here, and who knows, we may end up reading your blog post like we did today. Please send all your posts and articles to Gurdeep Kaur at gk@learningforward.org in. Don't send them to Manisha. Please send them to Gurdeep because Gurdeep is our ambassador for Teachers Academy and she manages this program. While Manisha will focus more on the Good Schools Alliance and My Good School. If you have any assistance, you can WhatsApp us, you can WhatsApp me, you can WhatsApp her. But you only access in WhatsApp if you are already connected with us. Otherwise, we will not be able to help you. So people who are part of our program now have access to us. To get access to us, either your school has to sign up for the Good School Alliance or you have to sign up individually. That choice is available. Over to you, Gurdeep. Have I missed out anything in today's session?
No, no, you have covered all the things, all the major things, teachers, academy, good school, and everything, retreat and everything. And one thing I want to say
Yeah,
to all
sure.
teachers, those who are here, please share your reflections ASAP because the moment we are reading, thoughts are coming into our mind. If we are sending reflections after a week or month, that thoughts like fade away. So it's important to share the reflections as soon as possible.
I'll give you a trick. Speak in your phone, keep voice notes. Open your WhatsApp. Put
Mhm.
voice notes and thoughts there with you. Write there as well as put your voice notes there. Simple way to capture your reflection. And then when you sit down, play it and record it. So why I'm doing all this, I have your screen still active. So I thought I'll just show this to you. How we came from the Teachers Academy, which is here, which is where we are inside after you join us. And how we reached here was because we joined. You can join us directly from diljito.com. When you join us, you sign up for the webinar, which is free. There is no charge. Yet there is certification after that. So on the Teachers Academy, this is where we were. Your blogs show up here. Teachers as Change Agent is a very interesting article. Its impact of what we have done. So we're giving you evidence what being with us can do. The Teachers app is free for all. Our content is actually streamed inside the Teachers app. So currently the podcasts are going, and later on the webinars will also be available inside the Teachers app because the webinars go on the YouTube channel. So all our content will be available to you. For internship and fellowship, Jugjeep sir urges you to please join us. It's great fun. And now go home, enjoy yourself. That's all we have. We have to stop here. If you want to speak, I can add you as a panelist. If you want to send a message, please do that in WhatsApp to us. If you want to call me, you have the next 10 minutes. I'm going to stop here so that gives you time to even call me now. But you can only do all these things if you are connected with us inside the Teachers Academy from Good School Alliance or as an individual. Over to you, Kunal, for the vote of thanks and closing.
Thank you everyone for showing up today. And I hope you still continue with us for the next 51 weeks. Every Saturday you'll find us here. So please come and join us. And you can send your reflections to Ms. Gurpreet. And that's all for the day. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye bye. We stop here. Have a wonderful Sunday tomorrow. If you find time, drop by at my good school. Amardeep Singh is joining us from Singapore with episode number 13, Allegory Tapestry of Guru Nanak's Travels. That's in my good school tomorrow. Looking forward. Bye bye.
Yeah. Hello, sir.
Yeah. All okay? Bye, Gurdeep.
Yeah,
And
Voice,
bye.
voice.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you.
Bye bye.